story that has made headlines is Tara Reid. Tara Reid, not the actress, but Tara Reid, the woman who has come forward and has said back in 1993 that Joe Biden sexually assaulted her. Now, my opinion on this still stands, even though her story has changed over the weeks, over the months, over the years. I do believe women deserve to be heard. Doesn't mean they're telling the truth. They deserve to be heard. There needs to be some sort of investigation, and then let's see where that goes. But certainly you can look at the time frame. You could look at the timeline. You could look at the victims' interviews or the alleged victims' interviews, and then you could make a decision based on that. But certainly every woman deserves to be heard. There's no question about that. But I have a huge problem, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, with any Trump supporter out there who wants to talk about this woman who's come forward and wants to call Joe Biden, a pedophile, but you kept quiet for the last 4 years when it comes to the 25-plus women that have come forward that say Donald Trump sexually assaulted them, in some cases raped them, including Donald Trump's ex-wife, who said she was raped by Donald Trump. Now, if you never brought up those situations and you've never criticized Donald Trump or even spoken about it, then you have zero credibility, and I don't want to hear from you. One of those women happens to be a senator out of Arizona. She is just absolutely a disgusting human being. I've said it about her before. Her name is Martha McSally. She did an interview on Fox News, and the interesting thing about this interview is Fox News edited this part of the interview out, but we got it for you. Senator Martha McSally is being asked the statement that basically I just made. And McSally's been on the airwaves talking about Joe Biden and this accused, sexual assaulter, Joe Biden, and she's been on it. She's been on it every day. Never heard a peep from her when it came about Donald Trump. Not one peep. She has zero credibility. I want you to listen to this answer she gave to Fox News in regards to this very issue and how phony Martha McSally truly is, the senator out of Arizona. Have a listen to this.
I think what I would like to see is for Trump to be more transparent and more accountable. We have, 25 women who have accused him of sexual assault. I'd like to hear from those women.
So, Senator, that's a lot of the way we hear this conversation going, that the former vice president is making his record transparent. But what about the current president? How do you respond?
Well, the hypocrisy from the Democrats and the media is on display here. As someone who's a sexual assault survivor myself, I also support due process. And the way that they treated Brett Kavanaugh and the way that they're now treating this situation is just really hypocritical. And so the focus really needs to be on that and be shining the flashlight on just how really surface level their commitment seems to be to any of these issues. It's very political, and they'll use it any way they can against this president, against Brett Kavanaugh, or however else they could. It's unfortunate, but it's extremely hypocritical.
It's very hypocritical, yet Martha McSally herself has not brought up any of the 25-plus accusers her time in office. She has never brought it up. She has never talked about Donald Trump bragging about sexual assault, the audio of that. She's never brought it up, and yet she's talking about hypocritical. She brings up Kavanaugh, doesn't bring up Trump, though. And in the beginning of that audio bite that you heard, it was a lady on The View who was saying, well, if you're going to talk about Joe Biden, sure, we can talk about that. We could talk about this one accuser, which, by the way, we've done on this show.
Whataboutism, Brian. That is the definition of whataboutism.
No, this is not whataboutism. No, it's not. You're absolutely wrong. So your take, JD, is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're disagreeing with me because you think if you're one of those people that has never brought up Donald Trump and the 25 accusers, that's okay. It's okay for you to bring up Joe Biden. Is that your opinion?
Well, I mean, the story with Trump was Stormy Daniels, and then it was Mueller. I mean, there's been a number of different things.
Mueller has nothing to do with sexual assault.
I mean, we've actually really never even talked about Donald Trump and his 25 sexual accusers.
That's not true. I have.
That's
not true. I have.
We had a small conversation about the fashion designer from New York who accused him in some type of, I think it was Bergdorf's or some type of store in New York, but we haven't really gotten deep into it. But I just want the coverage to be equal on both sides, and if you're going after, if you're going after Trump, you better go after Biden. as far as the media goes.
Okay,
And you're saying the exact same thing is happening with people like Martha McSally. I'm saying the exact same thing is happening with the media. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you that it is taking place, but I'm saying that the left wing media is doing
All right.
it,
Well, let's examine
not
that.
right wing politicians,
All right.
for example. And I'm not even sure if Tara Reid is telling the truth. She might not be telling. It's very coincidental, the timing of this. I think it's odd that she chose not to do that interview because she had, death threats, et cetera, et cetera. This just it seems a bit like a political coup type of situation, and it could be instigated. It could be initiated by the Democrats because they don't like Joe Biden as their candidate. A lot of the Democrats, if you look at the polling, prefer Andrew Cuomo as their presidential candidate right now. There's not a lot of Democrats that are behind Biden, and why would they be? He really hasn't been seen in the last 2 months. No one's seen him in person since early March. And he's clearly mentally deteriorating. So, but I think that Tara Reid, she might not be telling the truth, but as long as the media is covering, as long as they're going after Biden as hard as they were going after Trump, I'm fine with it.
Okay, well, first of all, MSNBC has covered it, but it's an unfair equivalence, and here's why I will say that. Again, I'll repeat it again. Donald Trump, on record, has bragged about sexual assault. Donald Trump has 25-plus women that have come forward. To this date, hold on, let me finish. To this date, Joe Biden has one woman that has come forward. So you cannot sit here and say, well, the media coverage needs to be equal. Donald Trump has several ex-wives. He's the king of infidelity.
He's not the king of infidelity.
Yes, he is. He has several ex-wives. He's cheated on all of them. Yes, he is.
He has a couple ex-wives.
All right, you're right. He treats women really good.
There are people with more ex-wives than Donald Trump.
Right,
He is not the king of infidelity.
You're right. Donald Trump treats women very well.
You want to know who was the king of infidelity? It was John F. Kennedy.
Okay.
That was the actual king of infidelity.
All right.
If you want to go whataboutism, I can do that. We can go whataboutism.
Nothing to do with the conversation.
And we can integrate all the presidents you want.
John F. Kennedy has zero to do with this conversation, nor does any other president. We're talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden in the coverage.
Actually, we're talking about Joe Biden,
and
now we're talking about Donald Trump because of whataboutism.
If I can finish, please. Joe Biden and Donald Trump are both running against each other in 2020. Make no mistake about it, JD. That is why we are talking about Donald Trump. He is currently our president, and Joe Biden is the candidate, last I checked, that is running against Donald Trump. So forgive me for talking about the two, but that's what we do on this show. They're both running against each other in November. I don't know why you bring up John F. Kennedy. It literally has zero to do with this conversation. I bring up Donald Trump, and then you are saying they both have to have equivalent, media coverage. And the reason why I think that's ridiculous is because Donald Trump has 25-plus women that have come forward that have said that he has sexually assaulted them. He also bragged about sexual assault in the audio. And
he bragged about being able to.
So now you're going to defend that too. Okay.
No, I mean,
go ahead.
He claimed it was consensual.
I know it's locker room talk. I understand.
No, he didn't say that.
You're right.
In that audio, he bragged about being able, because of his celebrity status, to be able to basically have sexual relations with whoever he wanted to.
Yeah, no, he was very respectful.
That's what he was bragging about.
Right. Locker room talk.
But he was claiming it was consensual. He wasn't bragging about just sexually assaulting a woman that doesn't want his advances.
You're right.
Well, you're spinning it, and that's not what happened in that particular audio.
Disagree. He bragged about sexual assault, but we can disagree on that. The bottom line is you're saying that there needs to be a media equivalence, and what I'm trying to tell you is that when you have one woman that has come forward. Back in 1993, she says this happened, and you have 25 women that have come forward when it comes to Donald Trump, including one of his ex-wives, Ivana Trump, who said that he raped her. There is no media equivalence there. None.
And you've seen pictures of Joe Biden literally smelling young girls' hair.
Nothing.
Multiple pictures. Multiple different
okay,
women.
There is no
young. I'm talking 9 to 13 years old.
And
sometimes as young as 6 years old.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
I'm not saying he's a pedophile. But
so what are you saying?
He's been called Creepy Joe for a long time for a reason.
You can continue to call him Creepy Joe or do what Donald Trump does and call him, whatever.
Sleepy Joe. He calls him Sleepy Joe because he actually did fall asleep in an interview with Hillary Clinton.
Well, you know what? You can make that stuff up. But falling asleep in an interview or maybe inappropriately smelling a girl's hair doesn't make you a pedophile. But you have 25 women once again that have come forward that have said that Donald Trump was either sexually assaulted them or raped them. There is no media equivalence there, and I'm sorry. I just completely disagree with you. And by the way, CNN has covered this. MSNBC has covered it. In fact, MSNBC was criticized for covering it, and we are covering it.
Of course, they were criticized for covering it.
I don't know if this woman is telling the truth or not.
I'm not sure she is.
But I will go to Jason Stein on this because, Stein, I know that you have some information for us. This woman has changed her story dramatically from almost week to week, month to month. Stein, what can you tell us about this?
Well, that's true. The latest is that she's now saying that she did file a report with the Senate there was some sort of Senate person that would take complaints. This is back in 1993. She said she went to that Senate office in 93 and filed a complaint, but she did not specifically use the words sexual harassment. She claims that she said Joe Biden made her feel uncomfortable back then in 93, but didn't use the word sexual harassment because she got to the office door and she chickened out and didn't want to go that extra step and say that. Now, she does have some people that are corroborating her story and saying, yeah, she
one
told
of her neighbors, I believe.
A couple of people told her, you say back in 93, she was discussing. Well, her mom allegedly called into the Larry King
didn't
show.
Didn't corroborate the story.
And alluded to my daughter was sexually harassed or sexually assaulted by a senator. We don't know all the details about that, but there is some audio that's out there. But yeah, no, she's got some people corroborating it, and then some people that are saying that, I knew her back then and she didn't say anything about it or whatever. So we really don't know. The timing of it is interesting. She, is now saying that he sexually assaulted her, but that just came out a few weeks ago. So.
All right, so what do you guys think about this, listeners out there? Are you one of those people like me that believes if you kept quiet for the last 4 years when it comes to Donald Trump and his sexcapades, if you're one of those people like Senator Martha McSally out of Arizona that doesn't want to bring up Donald Trump, doesn't want to bring up all the women that have come forward, but you think it's okay to bring up Joe Biden and this woman, Tara Reade,